Hello there everyone, how you doing today? I hope you're all well. Today we're going into r/entitled people, where people are very entitled. If you enjoy, like the video, leave a comment below and share it around if you enjoy that much. Now without further ado, let's get started, shall we? We got ourselves a doozy to start with. Let me just increase my size here a little bit. Entitled Father Expects the Masses to Part Like the Red Sea. Okay, for context, I'm in public administration distributing childcare. I'm responsible for around 1,200 seats. Also, I have kids, so I'd say I come in contact with a lot of parents from all different walks of life. About 95% of them are absolutely lovely people who do a great job parenting. About 4% require help but are doing okay. And then there's the 1%. My favorite anecdotes are the father who wanted me to reimburse him because his childcare center had to close early due to staffing issues. We were on the phone for an hour and he insisted to get his money back. Of course, the contract included a clause where that was not a possibility. Also, the fact that the contract was the daycare center and not my office. And I can't use my public funds to reimburse someone without having a contract because that would be embezzlement. After after 60 minutes of I pay and don't get the service, I have a right to blah blah blah. I get snappy and I told him that if he's so hard up, he wasn't, it was a matter of principle, to just give me his address and I'd fund the 13 euros from my own purse, because he was costing my employer way more with his stubbornness. Some people really think that their 2 euros per hour, childcare is heavily subsidized where I live, buys them a couple of slaves who have to work sick and do overtime. Then there was the mother who demanded I kick another child out because she wanted his childcare center and no other. We had offered her options, but she wanted this centered. An able-bodied, unemployed parent demanded another care center because they didn't own a car and the distance was 1.2 miles, which they would have to walk uphill to. I don't live in the Alps. But the most entitled father I ever met was a German in Paris. I was persuaded by a friend to go to Champs, Ulysses, for the final leg of Tour de France. Not interested in the sport, I tagged along. We were waiting for hours. In front of us, front row seats, so to speak, was a Danish family with lovely kids in their early teens. They were super excited, absolutely lovely, had been there since dawn and were huge fans. It got fuller and fuller. About 30 minutes before the cyclists were expected, the German father appeared on the scene and demanded with a make way attitude that all these people who had been there for hours part like the Red Sea for him and his family. When someone pointed this out, he demanded front row for his kids because otherwise they can't see a thing. Fortunately, they all stayed in my vicinity, so I got front row too, for the two kids around 10, who were clearly not interested in the event at all and complained incessantly about the people in the waiting line and bickered, fought, and shoved the whole time they were there. Oh boy. In my neck of the woods in Australia, the government has all but banned fee for no service, irrespective of contractual terms that might say otherwise. That's what someone in the comments said, not me specifically. Just saying the narrator is not in Australia. I'm not doxing myself, no need to worry about that. Park people inviting themselves onto private property. I'm overwhelmed by the entitlement and disrespect of people occasionally with their family and dogs going onto my property. My patio faces a hill at the top of a park walkway to the actual street, 50 feet away. My patio is steeply downhill from the path. Very obvious that I'm not the park. My HOA manager will not put up private property signs and blames me for being hostile. When I have politely asked people, oddly enough, that want to hang out literally right next to my patio or have their dog poop there, I mention that this isn't the park and please move along. I've been sweared at, threatened, and harassed. Usually they'll not leave until I threaten to call the police. In turn, I eventually have to get rude as well. Yet, all I received from management after sending 4 emails about this was a response that she was getting complaints. I was told that I was to not say anything to anyone, and my HOA was once again going to look into signage. Wow. I sent a polite but thorough email response saying my safety and their hostility, and I stated that I would be documenting all of this for my attorney. The HOA is now trying to spin this like I'm the unhinged owner. That is aggressive and unreasonable, when I am a single woman who doesn't feel like my privacy is respected. I am now nervous to sit on my patio and exhausted from dealing with confrontations. Are there any practical ideas I'm not considering? There has to be a reasonable solution. They won't consider security cameras or a fence, FYI. There are floodlights and bushes right next to the patio. Very obvious my home isn't the park. And someone in the comments suggests motion sensor sprinklers. And someone in the comments below that comment says, this old gem might work. Oh, that would be wonderful. But in some places, I hear that's illegal if done maliciously. So might as well keep this a secret. Soak 'em, tiger. I just had my life threatened in a drive-through line. This woman was trying to re-enter the drive-through line because I guess they forgot an item or a sauce. I saw her and waiting 30 seconds to try and let her get in. She didn't go, probably because she wasn't paying attention, so I decided to go. She started repeatedly honking like a madwoman, and I just ignored her. 20 minutes later, I get to the speaker to tell them I have a mobile order and she won't stop yelling at me.
Excuse me, did you not see me there?
I yelled back, I waited for you and you didn't go. She kept screaming over me and yelling,
That you will get picked up, bitch.
I yelled, I'm sorry, okay? And she just continues yelling about how she would screw me up. And then I yelled, it's not that serious, it's just Wendy's. I rolled up my window and called the cops to come patrol just in case. What the heck has this world come to? Because she had to wait 30 more seconds and thought I cut her off? What the actual frick? I'm never getting fast food again. What has the world come to? You waited over 20 minutes to order fast food. In what fast food area do you have to wait 20 minutes for fast food? It's called fast food for a reason. 20 minutes is unbelievably slow. Narrator's rant aside, on to the next story. Sister-in-law manages to avoid jail time after multiple grand larcenies due to brother-in-law and mother-in-law's enabling. I'm going to attempt to break this down without turning into a novel, but it is a long history. To begin with, my sister-in-law has 4 children. In May of 2022, my sister-in-law took credit cards from my husband and brother-in-law's grandparents, and spent a total of $21,000 over the course of 4 months. She was ordered to pay $8,000 in restitution. She managed to worm her way out of paying the entire balance by claiming she wasn't responsible for the charges. A lot were gas, food deliveries, fast food, and so on. In October of 2022, I received a Discover card with a 15,000 credit limit in the mail that I did not apply for. There was also a PayPal credit open to my name. I was able to close them without incident, but when I contacted the credit bureaus, sister-in-law's address was linked to those credit inquiries. In November of 2022, we hosted Thanksgiving, but I refused to allow sister-in-law into my home. My husband has a trucking business and there are personal assets and business assets to protect, and I remained convinced she had already committed identity theft against me personally. As a result, sister-in-law refused to allow her children to spend Thanksgiving with the extended family. Unfortunately, it was the grandfather's last Thanksgiving. He passed away the following month. 2023 was relatively quiet for sister-in-law, as she only committed acts of theft and fraud with several jobs and not within the family. Last month, however, it was discovered that my grandmother's savings account was nearly cleaned out, and sister-in-law had written and cashed a check for $5,000 to herself from their checking account. Again, she had taken credit and debit cards linked to these accounts. She was even paying her restitution payments from these accounts. Debit and credit charges amounted to a total of $41,000. This time, she was arrested and out on a $500 bail until her next court appearance on Wednesday. Not sure who paid bail, but I assume it was brother-in-law. Brother-in-law recently bought me a bundle of junk mail they received at their most recent address in town I have never lived in. I'm certain this is because of her inquiry history, but brother-in-law doesn't want to hear it. In order to maintain a relationship with her grandchildren, mother-in-law has continued to assist her with financial needs, footing her bills and giving her gas money and so on. Sister-in-law and more recently brother-in-law remain unwelcome at our house, but we still routinely spend time with our children. What a slime ball. But just because she is on bail doesn't mean she won't not get jail punishment in the actual trial. Fingers crossed. In their state, she could get 3 to 5 years. Don't force your charity on me. I work for a company that gloats about how charitable it is. It also pays below market wages to its employees, so the company is hosting its annual Christmas charity event. It passed out a list of needy families to each apartment to fill in. It contributes by kicking in $200 on top of what we give. But my department's family has 11 members in it, and they want a PlayStation, a Nike, and top name stuff. I'm done with subsidizing everyone. I had to put my name next to something, so when I went to Goodwill and picked up an item on the list, I shop there for my clothes because the company stiffs me, so it should be good enough for them, right? I worked at a company that said it was 100% required to donate at least $100 to the United Way. I refused, told them to take it up with my attorney that will be assisting me with filing a complaint to the EEOC. They left me alone. They are not legally permitted to mandate that you give up any part of your salary. This is for disabled drivers. After dialysis today, I was needing something forgotten on Weekly Shop, so I parked next to the local co-op store. To get it out, I reach down to my blue badge when I see an old guy with a red face of rage, and he bangs on my windows.
Hey you, that's for disabled drivers. Get your shit heap out the bay.
I think for once my sarcasm was working. I held up a finger, put my blue badge up to the dashboard, and opened the door, making him back up. He kept spluttering about how I should move my car, right till I stood up, painfully slow, and pulled the hospital-issue crutch I used for support out of my passenger side. I just locked the car and jumped into the store while he stared, looking like a confused goldfish. He must need new glasses, because that crutch was clearly visible. I have a blood-borne infection in January, and my weak left knee was damaged further by swelling and nerve damage. We're taking a month on morphine because painkillers and steroid injections are bad. I can't walk with a limp, but more than 20 feet, and my legs started to throb. Plus, every now and again, it's like my knee goes dead for a couple of seconds. Without the crutch, I'm going down, and I'm tall, so when I fall hard. Entitlement versus National Emergency Edition. On mobile, there will be errors. The last 9 days in I can't pronounce that city. Of Costa Rica, we have more rain than over a month during rainy season. There's massive flooding, roads were washed out, thousands displaced, and Libera airport runway was damaged. Not in US news. Last day or two, less rains and locals start digging out and repairing. Repair the runway, but so much air traffic and it's still raining, the runway breaks down again. The flights turned away in the air, denied landing in San Jose hours away because the airport is full. Cue angry ranting, understandable by those travelers trapped here. Many of us are helping them to get out to other airports to get home or finding lodgings. Oh no, cue all the US folks trying to fly in during this emergency to go on vacation. There's angrily ranting, demanding the airport be immediately fixed or they be allowed to land on an unsafe pothole runway. Please, I'm sorry about your vacation, but let the locals have a day or 3 to fix the runway. Muck up their homes and businesses along with the roads before arriving. Many major roads are still shut from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. this week. And that's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed, remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and check me out at twitch.tv/CountJulius. Maybe even check out my Entitled People playlist. I will see you all next time. Hasta la pasta.